Hi friends, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Ashley and I'm so glad that you're here. Today's video is coming out later in the month than what I would probably normally have it come out, but since I'm just getting started with this YouTube thing, we got to start where we're at. Today's video is going to be my September wrap up. So I'm going to talk through all the books that I read last month and give you my thoughts on them, my ratings. I did complete 8 books. I typically don't read that much. I usually fall somewhere between 4 and 6 books a month, just depending on what we have going on and how I'm feeling. Last month was a great reading month for me. I had 2 5-star reads, 4 4.5-star reads, and then 1 3-star read. And I don't even know. That's that's good compared to, my summer reading was kind of like up and down. So let's just hop right into the books that I read. I think I'm going to go in order of like high rated books to the lowest rated books. So my first 5-star read of the month is The Beauty of Darkness by Mary E. Pearson. This series is a 5-star series for me, probably one of my, if not my favorite fantasy series that I've ever read. It is a young adult fantasy series and it is amazing from book one. Every book in the series I've given 5 stars. I'm not going to talk too much about this book because it is the last one. So a lot of it is given away, but it follows a princess who wants to make a path for herself, make her own decisions. And she does that in a roundabout way. I cannot say enough about this book. I recommend this to any and everybody. The whole series. This is definitely a series that I can see myself going back through, and I want to annotate and just catch things that I did not catch the first time around. I do have the duet series that follows this. I have the first book in that on my Kindle, and I do plan to read it. I cannot see me not liking anything that this author writes. That may be that's a very strong opinion. My next 5-star read is a book called Not So Lucky. This book gave me what I did not know that I needed. The premise of this book is basically what happens in Vegas. We have our typical party girl and our star quarterback professional football player meet in Vegas on a wild night. They have a wild night. They end up married, and circumstances arise where they have to stay married. So we're having fake dating, forced proximity. We have a couple why choose situations. I think what I loved most about this book was that both main characters knew what they were getting into, what they got into. They were very aware of their circumstances the entire book, and never once did it feel cliche. The female main character, Eleanor, she is such a badass. She's just a strong, independent woman. She didn't take the circumstances and try to make it more than what it was. She was just along for the ride and having fun while she was there. Crew, our male main character, I mean, definitely a situation where she falls maybe first, he falls harder. I fell in love at the same time these characters did. The book is so good. The spice for this book, I would give this, I think I gave it like 4 chili peppers. I don't want to say this is the spiciest book that I've read, but it's definitely one of those that's like, for a lot of people, this will probably be the spiciest book that you'll read. Like I said, you get the why choose situation, very descriptive, um, very frequent. The banter in this book, top tier banter. The side characters, their conversation, like Eleanor's friends and Crue's friends, I love it all. Okay, now we're going to get into my 4.5 star books. First up is going to be Collided by Lauren Asher. This is part of the Dirty Air series, which is basically a series following Formula One drivers. And this book is probably my favorite of the books that I've read in the series thus far. There are 4 books. I've read 3. This one is the second one. Collided follows Liam and Sophie. Liam obviously is a Formula One driver. Sophie, okay, it's been a while since I read this one. I believe she is the daughter of one of the like team coaches or managers. They're not coaches, managers. And Sophie is a very type A, follow the book, to-do list, goal-oriented person. She makes a bucket list, but it's not called a bucket list. And Liam finds it and decides that he's going to help her check, the adventures off of her list while also adding more. This is, I would say a friends to lover. And it's funny, before last month, I would say I'm not a fan of friends to lovers, but 2 highly rated books that I read last month were friends to lovers. This was done really well, in my opinion. The one thing that I do like about this series is that, number one, it covers heavy topics in a very good way. The women don't feel like they're just falling for the man just because the man is there. The men are, the bar is literally in hell that I'm about to say this, but the men are respecting the women's decisions and listening to them and not making them feel bad for the decisions that they're making. But this book is my favorite in the series so far. The 2 of them, their dynamic, how they came together, how they fell in love, it was just heartwarming and I enjoyed it. Okay, I stand corrected. I read 3 friends to lovers last month and I gave them all 4.5 stars. The next book is Powerless by Elsie Silver. I do not know what Miss Silver is putting in her books, but they are addicting. This book starts with a runaway bride situation. And I loved it. I love that he is truly her best friend who they've obviously been pining after each other for forever. He saw that she was in a situation. It wasn't a matter of like, here's my chance. It's, I see my friend in a situation. Let me get her out of this situation. And of course, he comes in and saves the day. He takes her away. And then, circumstances happen where they end up on a road trip together. And I think after, maybe the first quarter of the book, my interest started going down and I got to thinking, you see, this is why I don't like friends to lovers. Then the book moves from we're both pining for each other, but we don't know, to a moment where we have to come to terms of, we like each other. Are we going to continue as status quo? Are we going to talk through this like adults? Like, how is this going to play out? That really changed the dynamic of the story and made me become invested again in where we were going to go. Once this road trip was over, round up this crazy thought about this book. This is what friends to lovers should feel like. They have known each other for so long. They really know each other. And the friendship was put first before the romance. And when they finally get together, it's like, this is what y'all waited for. This is what we're here for. My next 4.5-star book of the month is Through the Wicked Wood by Kristen R. Moore. It is an Enchantress Awakens book, and this book means so much to me. Kristen, I view her as a friend. We're friends on Bookstagram. We talk frequently, but she is another indie author, and it was just so inspiring to see her writing process and her publish this book. And this book is really good. It is written well. It's a good fantasy novel. Our main characters are Alora and Soren, and um, you love them both for their own reasons. Elora is very strong. You can't help but to root for her from the beginning. She's very questioning, and I don't want to say not easy to forgive, but very guarded. And watching her tear down those walls to, again, love herself, embrace her power, and allow herself to accept the care and love from others was very magical to watch. Soren is very charming, fun, and just you can tell the life of the party, but he has his own, um, I'm not going to say damage, but he has his own things, just like everybody. We're all dealing with our own things. But watching these two, um, fall in love and go on this journey learning to trust, it was so much more than fall in love, but I'm a sucker for a love story, romance all the way, but this book was so good. Okay, my last 4.5-star rating is for When in Rome by Sarah Adams. I was fortunate to meet Sarah Adams at the beginning of the summer, I believe it was. She was in a town close to Nashville doing a book signing with Tessa Bailey. I met both of them. They were both extremely nice. When I was in line at this signing, some of the girls were telling me about her books and that she writes closed door romance. And not that I steer away from that, I typically don't grab for it, but the book that she had released in that day was Practice Makes Perfect. And I did not realize that it was book 2 in a series. So I picked up this book about 2 or 3 months ago, and I was looking for something quick to read, and this was quick to read, and I loved it. It was so cute, so good. This book follows Amelia Rose, who is a pop star, and she's stressed and needs a break. And so she follows her hero, that is Audrey Hepburn, and she travels to Rome, but not Rome, Italy. She goes to Rome, Kentucky, because that is the closest Rome to Nashville, Tennessee. That was really cool to read about, that's where the pop star lives, is where I live. She travels to Rome, Kentucky, and she meets Noah Walker, and the craziness ensues. This gave everything that I want a small town romance to give. I want the quirky, funny, crazy townspeople. Noah's sisters were fantastic. This book was definitely a strangers to friends to lovers. I love the angst of this book because the two were trying to fight their attraction as long as possible because they knew eventually the time here was going to come to the end. This book made me laugh out loud. I flew through it because it was just that good. It was a quick and easy read, and I would definitely recommend. Okay, now we are down to our 3-star reads. I was actually mistaken in the beginning. I did have 2 3-star reads for this month. The first 3-star read that I had is Wrecked by Lauren Asher. It is book 3 in the Dirty Air series. You've heard me explain what the series was about when I was talking about Collided. Wrecked fell short for me. I think 3 stars is more than I probably should have gave it. I felt like I leaned more toward 3 stars because I liked the first 2 books in the series. Um, this book kind of fell short for me with the main male character. I feel like in the other books, he presented as a stronger presence and a more likable character. His actions in this book, especially in the beginning, were just a little too much. Um, and not even actions as in like I don't want to like if you're acting a certain way and the only harm that you're causing is to yourself, I don't want to say that's okay, but like the lashing out to the female main character, I just really did not care for. Another reason I did give it 3 stars is I really enjoyed the female main character. What's very interesting is that they're both dealing with huge family trauma, family issues, but seeing how each character navigates that and how they are existing in the world and treating people, one not based on how they're letting their trauma affect them, and the other completely based on how they're letting their trauma affect them, was just a crazy dynamic to read. Um, Overall, the book was good. The writing is it's good because it's a Lauren Asher book. Um, but it's probably my least favorite in the series, for sure. So as of now, I still have one more to read. And the last book of this September wrap up and my final 3-star book is Caravel by Stephanie Garber. Where do I begin? This is a book where I enjoyed the plot. I enjoyed the writing, but the main female character made me want to throw this book across the room for about 50% of the book. This is a book where at 50%, I thought I was going to shut it and never open it again. I loved the premise of this book. I loved the setup. I loved the main character's sister. The main character was my biggest issue in this book, to the point where I did go ahead and buy the next 2 books in the series, but I feel like I will have to read this book again because my eyes were rolled in the back of my head for a majority of the book, and I got to a point where I was skimming and I just didn't care. I don't know. I'm gonna ask, if you've read this book, are the details in this book enough to where I would have to read this again to keep up with the rest of the series, or can I just keep going on my merrily way? I hope I can keep going on my merrily way. All right, that is all the books that I read in the month of September and my ratings. I hope that you enjoyed this video and that it wasn't too chaotic. I will get better at this. But if you did like this video, please like, subscribe, share this video with all your friends, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.